We're now ready for the final panel, to be STEM women in the world. And for this, we're going to invite to the stage Esther Izquierdo, Global President of STEM Ambassadors and Innovation Director at ARC Barcelona, Wattega, Head of the Portugal STEM event, Liliana Domingues, Head of the Italian event, Matteo de Laurentis, Canada Chief, Darren Jones, Ambassador of the Canada chapter, Prieto, and from our newest addition to the SWC events, we have from the Netherlands, Ivana Nikolik, Director of BDEMA, and joining us online, we have Boston's President of the Brazilian chapter, Ana Carolina Cardoso. Thank you so much.
Buenas tardes, good afternoon. It's a true honor to be here today as a moderator of this panel. I would like to thank the organization and all of those present for their commitment to promoting women in STEM careers. As many of you know, women are making their mark in the STEM fields, promoting that talent and opportunities are accessible to everyone, regardless of gender. Today, in this panel, we're with a series of exceptional speakers who will share their experience and perspective on how to be a STEM woman. Each one has followed a unique journey from different disciplines with different challenges and achievements, but they all have one thing in common. They have turned their passion for science and technology into a driving force to make the change possible. Thank you for being here. Voy a presentaros a las personas que nos acompañan, porque ellos forman parte de los diferentes chapters que tenemos alrededor del mundo. Como decíamos antes, la diversidad es cosa de todo y por ello contamos, como veis, con paridad, hombres y mujeres que formamos este gran grupo para impulsar y promover el cambio. Liliana Domingues is visionary leader and accomplished sustainability consultant serving as the founder and CEO of Amarna Vida. She is passionate about fostering positive environmental and social issues, social change, dedicating her career to advancing sustainability business practice and conscious leadership. Thank you, Liliana. Matteo, he is from the chapter of Portugal. Matteo, she's from the chapter of Italy, is Business Strategy Manager in Orange Media Group, an independent content creator company that operates in the world of communication production through cinema, podcasts, and key events like STEM One Congress in Italy and Roma Startup Week. Thank you, Matteo.
Thank you.
Joanna is from the Colombia chapter. She is CEO and co-founder of Geek Girls Latam, coach and digital humanist, iconic woman for the World by the Women Economic Forum, World Young Forum speaker, and hated as powerful woman by Forbes Central America magazine. Thank you, Joanna. Ivana, he is from the Netherlands chapter, our new chapter, is director business developer in EMEA at EW Connect, Forbes, Council executive member and through leader, with a robust track record in leading growth strategy by leverage her extensive experience in IT. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Esther.
Okay. From the chapter of Canada, we have Darren Jones. He's Executive VP of Clients and Markets with Valencia Risk in Canada. He has more than 30 years of experience in cybersecurity, with most of that experience as a consultant and a startup operator. Thank you to be here. And in our online connection, we have our Ana Carolina Cardoso from the Brazil chapter. Is director of the Schneider Electric Partner Program, Brazilian. Living in Spain for 8 years, she's volunteer of the Let's Go Engineering program that brings engineering experience to 6th graders from 18 schools in Spain. Thank you for being here very much. The Global Gender Gap report of June of this year, published for the World Economic Forum, defined as a conclusion that macroeconomic and geopolitical conditions play a key role in shaping current and future possibilities to achieve gender parity for countries and regions. As shown by this year's index results, the scale and speed of progress are deeply insufficient to achieve gender equality by 2030. So, what can we do to help close the gender gap in STEM? I think that our panelists can help on answer this. Matteo, I know that you have some data on the situation of Italy. And in your opinion, how do culture percept of STEM careers influence young girls' career choice in your region?
They do, and good afternoon to this great audience for first. They do, and I have to say they do, unfortunately, in a negative way. If we take a read to the World Economic Forum report published in June 2024, we can see that Italy lost 8th position in the international ranking about gender equality and STEM disciplines. So we have to ask why this happened. I believe that we can find the answer in sociology and historic point of view. Why? We are the country of the ancient Roman Empire, and as well we are the country of the Catholic Church. Let me say, I'm not talking in an ethical, political judgment point of view. I'm talking in a scientific point of view. These reasons are really deep inside us, these two roots, and I believe that they make something in our unconscious that make the Italian challenges harder than in other countries. Why? Because the role model, the inspiration moments are not enough in Italy. We have to change the specific role of family and role of woman that ancient Roman Empire and Catholic Church transmitted to us. How we can do this? Of course, with inspiring model, of course with role model, but we have to put another element, communication. This is why, as Orange Media Group, we embraced the STEM Women Congress project for making the message mainstream. This is really important because if we don't change the ancient vision of the society, we can't go further with the gender equality and inspiring girls to take this role inside their lives. So it's really important to combine these three elements: action, analysis, and communication. I believe that this is the only way to change and to make a cultural evolution.
Okay, thank you. Inspire, communication, action, analysis. Yes, I agree with you. Ivana, Matteo was sharing his view in Italy. In your experience, what unique challenge does your country face in reducing the gender gap in STEM?
Yes, thank you, Esther. Actually, we received in June this year the new Global Gender Report, where the global nations are ranked. So Netherlands, unfortunately, is still on the lower or 28th position, although is one of the highly developed countries. Besides that, happy to say that Netherlands is first when it comes to education eternity, which is the first on that list. Again, when it comes to educational literacy in all primary, secondary, and tertiary education. But still, I would say there is a lot to be done. Still, huge room to improvement. But I'm happy to see that more and more such initiatives like STEM Women Congress are happening within the Netherlands. Women in Tech, Women in AI, Branded You, Right Brains, Women Tech, Women Inc. So you name it, at least a dozen of them. And more initiatives such as gatherings, conferences, events, I would say on a weekly basis are happening. But still, we see that 15% regarding to this gender report, 15% it's the gender wage gap. So I see this as working mostly on the structural reforms and starting with the educational system. First and foremost, having targeted strategies, and also spreading this into the higher roles. We see, starting with educational system, of course, but then to have women within senior and top and leadership roles, not only having in the lower level. So to have more role models like us, and just to step up and show up to the rest of the younger generations. But it's again, it needs to have, I would say, a positive impact from all the stakeholders within the ecosystem, to all of them to be involved and to be willing, to have a willingness to participate, and just in that way we can lower or close the gender gap. Just, I will give you one very interesting statistics or discovery that we've done a couple of years ago. Again, one of these women initiatives and organizations did it. We discovered that there are more CEOs in Netherlands with the name Peter than the actual female CEOs. So you can imagine. And there was a very interesting initiative back then when we were asked, again, it was just to raise up and speak up more, each one of us, especially within the higher roles, to change our name on LinkedIn to Peter. I don't know if you had a chance to, to recognize this. It was 2 years ago, but it was very interesting. So again, a lot to be done, but I'm happy to see a huge progress.
Okay, thank you. Tomorrow we have to change our names in LinkedIn. It's a good idea. Okay, you have talked about education, and Matteo was talking about inspiration. And Carolina, we have a big problem in inspiring new generation. There is a lack of inspiring examples and action to help inspire girls in STEM careers. How do you see it, and how are you approaching the project in Brazil? So we can hear you. Wait a moment, please. No. Wait. No, wait a moment. We can continue with another question, and we try to connect with you, Carol. Okay.
Okay.
It's okay. Thank you.
Now.
It's working?
Yeah, thank you.
You see, we are talking about technology. We need to test technology, right? So it's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm sorry not being in person, but happy to thank you for the event to permit me to be with you at least virtually. So it's a pleasure to also start working on the STEM Women Congress in Brazil that we are planning for 2025. And I love it what Ivana just said, like about inspiration, because if we do not start early, you know, we will have difficulties for the future for sure. So basically, Brazil is a very huge country, and we are discussing access to education. Imagine that a lot of kids do not even have access to education. Imagine on STEM. So basically, our challenge is really like how we can contribute on having more kids with access to education, and also include STEM careers as a promise for them. This is our main challenge. And then it's where we should be starting, and where we are going to start as well in Brazil. But I would like to share a case with the problem that we have, that is the miss of role models, that even starting on the education, we can have a problem in the future. So I have a case that I'm volunteer on a that is called Let's Go Engineering. And the project is really to inspire girls and boys on engineering with 11 years old. So we had a girl that changed the idea to from be a teacher to be in a technical career. So she started the bachelorette in technology, and 2 months, and she's thinking to quit. And the reason why, because it's difficult, and because there is no one really supporting her to move forward. So we have a huge challenge on inspiring new generations, but what I'm really worried is not only on the education or only on the employee level. We are really worried in the inspiration on education. So if you not start early on their careers, they will difficulty choose STEM careers. And if we are not able here to create role models, it will be difficult for them to be inspired and continue influencing. So mentorships, any kind of support in the schools, and anything that each one of us could do differently to inspire other women, I think this is the key to continue. So the challenge in Brazil is big, but I'm sure that we can start doing this together.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Stakeholders working together, role models, inspiring. Darren, Liliana, from your point of view, how important is to share our experience of good practice to learn from one country to another?
I can go.
Liliana, okay.
So, first of all, good afternoon, buenas tardes, boa tarde, espero que es también en catalán. Sí. Estoy a ser inclusiva, ¿vale?
Muchas gracias.
Bueno, lo ejemplo mayor de que es muy importante el facto de estarmos aquí todos de diferentes países partilhando nuestras experiencias.
Sí.
Voy a cambiarlos para español.
English, yes.
I'm going to share to English. So the best example for us to share and be able to is the fact that we are here. And we are both, all of us, from different cultures, different countries. So I think is the best way. It's always by experience, by learning with others, and even more when you have different backgrounds, different cultures. So, for example, in the morning, Susana was so I'm from the chapter of Portugal, right? The two neighbor countries, as Susana has shown, are so different in terms of data. It says a lot. So imagine the difference between other countries on Europe. I was amazed by the fact that so many people don't work, for example, in Italy. For example, I know that Portugal is quite an example in the world of STEM because more than 50% of women, of STEM professionals are women. But, of course, we have to look to the other parts of the data. So, for example, as Susanna was sharing, there's a lack of initiatives in terms of the young people. Yeah. So, all sharing this and having this experience, knowing each country, what are their gaps and all, I think it's very important. For example, we are... Ana Carolina was talking about mentorship. If I had a mentor when I began my career as an engineer, I would say that I would pass a lot of the pains that I had 25 years ago. Yeah, I know that I don't seem so old as I am, but it was in my first job with 500 men as an engineer and construction job. I don't have any woman to be supportive, not knowing nothing. I was just there working in a construction, so these kind of role models, and even more, for example, having role models that can be from different backgrounds, from different countries, I think that would be a very enriching thing, right? So from what you are doing here, and hopefully next year, instead of 6, will be more countries here. And not only on this 5 minutes that we are talking, but that we can really came across and gather and connecting and going on each culture's gap and learn from each other. And I think the platform here will be amazing for that. So once again, congratulations for all this great project that I'm honored to be part of, because I think that's the way. You see that, I repeat, for me it was amazing to see the different numbers in the countries that are cousins. We are cousins, right? And the difference is huge. So again, we can learn not only from ourselves, but from other cultures even more. So I think that we have to go outside our boxes. One of the things that always amazed me, and I think that's the beauty also of the project of STEM, is that there are a lot of initiatives around this topic, a lot of them. But the thing is that they don't communicate with each other. though they don't share their experience. They don't share what they are doing, at least in the Portuguese example is that, so instead of creating even more stuff, maybe we have to look at what already exists and how they connect and leverage each other. So it's all about scale, it's all about sharing experience, it's all about learning from the ones that are doing better. We can learn from them, but also they can learn from us in our own challenge. So I think it's amazing to do, and doing such part of what is being done right now, which is creating more chapters that hopefully will lead us to that. So thank you so much.
You. Share experience to learn more and to go faster. Darren, how do you do? Please.
Well, thank you, Liliana. That was such a great summation of even some of the experiences we had from the Portugal chapter just a couple of weeks ago. I know that one learning that I'm taking away from this conference and also from the Portugal chapter conference, and I'll make an obvious point. The English-speaking world has a reputation for maybe being a little too ethnocentric at times, but one of the things that we find challenging in Canada is that our companies, our government agencies will set a target and place their focus on attaining the target and then move on to other things. What we culturally do not do a very good job of, especially in Canada, is celebrating the successes that have taken place. One of the initiatives that exist within Canada is the Engaging Women in Cybersecurity. I contribute to that because that's my field for the past 35 years. The thing that we noticed in the 8 years of running this event was how important it was to inspire the young women, the girls who were looking to move into information technology and potentially move into cybersecurity as a career choice, and make it clear that there were many excellent examples of exemplary careers that could be celebrated. So our tagline for the Engaging Women in Cybersecurity is "See her, be her," because that is the whole message that we try to get across. And one other observation that I have is that it's giving me more of an outlook to do even more mentoring than I have been doing in the past few years, to give honor to the people who helped me have such an interesting career. And in doing that, helping STEM Women Congress expand in Canada beyond the initial couple of cities, to help put together the annual report. That also is a very foundational element to what STEM Women has been doing that I don't see other North American-based organizations fulfill. So it's a very exciting time. I think I'm at an age where I'm looking at the possibility of retirement, but I think if I do that, I will end up being busier than I've ever been helping with all of this.
Okay, I take into account and have to define next steps. Ivana. Joanna, from your point of view, taking into account everything we have heard now, what action would you suggest for helping to close the gender gap in STEM?
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Yes.
So, buenas tardes a todos, todas. Vengo de Colombia, representando a Latinoamérica. So I'm very happy to be here and going just to shift into English. So thanks for inviting me, for inviting this Latin voice to share our experience at Geekers Latam. And answering the question, I strongly believe that to truly make the difference, we must embrace ecosystem or systemic mindset and culture. That's something that we have proved and tested at Geekers, working in more than 12 countries in Latin America, involving everyone as public sector, private sector, social sector, academic, men, women, everybody working together to close gap together. So that's the first thing I want to conclude in this conversation. We must really think in this systemic mindset and general approach. And the other thing is, I think that is not only a matter of leveling the playing field, which is important, that's why we are talking about equality, but it's also a matter of envisioning an inclusive and innovative work. So the question could be here, how are we envisioning future? How are we working towards that vision? And the role everyone here is playing toward that vision. No, doesn't matter if I'm a leader, if I'm a father, a mother, if I'm a teacher, if I'm a student, no matter what the role is in society. The thing is that I do have a responsibility and I have to work. I have to contribute with my part in solving or giving a solution to this gender issue. And on the other hand, I also want to add that, at least according to our work in Geek Girls Latam, when we empower women and girls, there's something magic that happens, and is that they unlock a tremendous potential in believing on them, trusting in them. No? So if we get the point in girls and women in which they discover their own potential, we are really working to fostering a different future. Yeah. No? It's like when a human believes or trusts on his own, in this case, her own potential. Talking a girl or a woman, I think we are really maybe conceiving a different world, more innovative, more human, if we want to call it in that way, more than thinking maybe in just STEM, but in a world where everybody can have a purpose and work on their purpose, no matter what it is. If it is in STEM, perfect. If it is not, perfect too. But that everybody has a purpose, I think is very important. And finally, at Geekers, we do believe that every woman deserves the opportunity to become a leader and a creator in the digital world. So by promoting technology, education, mentoring, and most of the initiatives we have heard today, and we have heard in all of the STEM Women Congress around the world in the different chapters, is of course a way in closing this gender gap, but it's also, and I think most important, we are fostering a different generation of women, capable, able, and equipped to lead the world and to lead the society, the future we really want to live in the future.
Yeah.
So I've heard this morning Catherine saying the power of trust. So in itself, no, her, his, but everybody must trust in our own potential and to give and contribute to the world with purpose.
Okay, we have to believe in our potential to change the world. We have to close our panel. So thank you, Liliana, Matteo, Joanna, Ivana, Carolina, for your time, your generosity, in sharing your experience and for being such an inspiration. It has been a true privilege to moderate this panel and listen to the incredible values, experience and perspective of all of you. Each of them has offered a unique insight in how to be a woman, how to change the world, but they have also shown us something in common: passion, resilience, and commitment to change. Every story shared is a reminder that inclusion and diversity are essential to creating positive and transformative impact in the world. As we are closing the session, I invite you to reflect on what we have learned today and think about how we can apply these insights and inspiration in our life, in our professions, and in our communities. Women in STEM are a driving force for change, and we have seen today, together, we can break down the barriers that still exist and open doors for future generations. It is in our hands to continue being role models for the young women who are entering this field. Our presence, our voices, and our actions are still crucial to show that the world of STEM has a place for everyone, and that together we can build a more inclusive and sustainable future. Thank you very much for all. Gracias.